Good evening, ladies. Welcome to tonight's webinar. I'm Camille from Ignite Mr. Right. For those of you who haven't met me yet, I help single women in how to attract their Mr. Right so they can have the relationship and love life they really deserve. Now, tonight's interview is the very first one of a series called Successful Women in Love, How to Have the Cake and Eat It Too. So it's the first one of about 10 interviews coming up over the next year. And I'm so excited to introduce you to a very special lady tonight. Her name is Natasha Denman. She's got quite a few businesses. One of them is called ultimateweightloss.com.au. And I've met Natasha quite a few years ago, and I know her. I don't actually know her that well, so I'm really excited to hear her story tonight. And I know we're going to cover a lot of great content. So I've just unmuted Natasha. Welcome on the call.
Hello, how you going?
Really well, really well. I'm so glad I could hear you okay. I couldn't hear anything straight away. So thanks so much for being part of this interview series. So a lot of most of the women on the call haven't met you yet. So are you can you share a little bit about who you are, what sort of things you do, and what motivated you to start your own business?
Sure, Camille. I'm so excited to be on the call with you tonight. And yes, we've spoken a lot of times over the phone and bumped into each other a couple of times, but yeah, never actually proper sit down and chat. So I guess we've got this hour to hang out with the girls and learn a little bit about where I've come from and yeah, my adventures in love. So where did I come from? Well, I actually wasn't born here. I come from Macedonia, and I moved to Australia at the age of 14. When I came over, I didn't speak a word of English, and it was very challenging to get used to this beautiful country that now I call home. And then obviously did all my schooling, university, and spent about 10 to 12 years. I think that's around the amount of time I spent working in the optical industry, in retail. And really what motivated me to have my own business was, I guess, the defining moment of having children and realizing that you don't have as much time to spend with them if you're working retail, especially with the crazy hours that are the weekends and the late nights. And I really am, I guess, having discovered my love language, that of being quality time. I really wanted to bring that to my family, and I knew I had to do a lot of hard work before I could get to that quality time, which is what we've recently, like at the end of last year, my husband was able to quit his day job because of the success in our businesses, and now we're all together most of the time, and it's really cool.
That's amazing. So you're running the business together now.
Yes, we are. So initially it was just me who invested in a course, studied, did a lot of things for a long time without much results. Worked a lot of hours. As he says, sometimes he goes, if we divide the amount of hours that you've done, comparison to what income you've earned, you're probably worth 15 cents an hour.
Yeah.
But we have a joke around that, and it's been all worth it because obviously you lay the foundations right, and then you get to a point where you start to see more rewards and less work, and that's the way it should be. But yeah, a lot of people find it challenging to stick out those first couple of years in business. So we've been in business, we're approaching our 3-year anniversary.
Congratulations. And it's good to hear. I think it's always good to hear from people who've done it, and you being honest about it. It wasn't all it's never all smooth sailing, and it does take a lot of hard work at the beginning to set it up.
Yeah, totally. It does. And those foundations, I mean, gosh, and I had to keep reminding myself. But something that my mum always taught me when I was little was every beginning is hard, and that's really stuck in my head. As well as, just when I came to this country, I've got this rule that it takes a really red hot guy of about 2 years to get good at something. So I have this rule. So when I started the business, I said, if this doesn't work hard, after 2 years, then I can reevaluate. But for the first 2 years, shut up and put up and do what you can.
Great. And I'm curious, were you always very driven and, like very a determined sort of person when you grew up?
Yeah, I like, yeah, I have been a bit of a high achiever. And especially also when I came into high school here, I didn't speak any English, and I think it was in my second year of being here, I was part of this debating team, and we got to the state finals. And I'm very competitive, actually, to tell you the truth. I don't like to lose. And yes, very driven. I don't know where that comes from, but at the moment I'm writing a program because I'm such a good action taker. I'm actually writing a program called Ultimate Procrastination Cure, which I had a bit of a laugh with myself today around it, because as I was writing it, I actually inspired myself to go and take some more action. So yeah, those kind of things. I'm always. I didn't think I was creative, but lately I've realized that I'm actually quite creative. I really love writing.
Nice, nice. Oh, I look forward to reading the book once it's out. So you
Yeah. Yes.
you actually you met your husband way before you built the business. So are you happy to share a little bit about how you met him? Because most of my clients, of course, are single women, and I think it's always so inspiring to hear how other women actually have met their Mr. Right.
Partner. Yeah, cool. I'll tell you a little bit of a background story as to how I set the intention to meet him.
Yes.
The year before, the year before I met him, I had sort of like what I like to call a gap year. I always used to jump from one relationship to the next throughout my 20s. So I had 2 or 3 year relationships, and basically once when I broke up with the person I was with prior to my husband, I decided that I needed to have a good gap, and so I forced myself not to be with anyone, as well as setting up to go on a Kentucky trip around Europe. And so that sort of kept me single for that whole year, because what I'd have the tendency to do is go from one relationship to the next and really not have much time in between. And so I took that gap year and I said, look, when I come back from Kentucky, I will settle down. I'll have blown a lot of steam off in that 12 months, and come back. And can you believe it? I had flown back from Europe. I think it took 3 or 4 days to come back to Australia. It was something ridiculous flights. And I got off the plane. Someone else picked up my suitcases, and I had to go to the national from international to national flights, because I was going to a conference up in Queensland, which was I was employed by OPSM back then,
Hmm.
and so I didn't want to miss the conference, because conferences is lots of fun. And so I got off one flight. 3 hours later, I was in another flight up to Queensland, not having slept for nearly a week. And that night, obviously Stuart was one of the managers at the OPSM stores, same as me. So we were in the same role, and we had a good time, and I had my eye on him like about 6 months prior to that, but I didn't know sort of how to get close to him or talk to him. And then at the conference, you have a couple of drinks, and obviously not having slept for a week, I was a bit delusional. But I guess I had the courage to go up and say hi, and talk to someone that he was talking to that I knew, and that's how
Yeah.
we met. And from then on, for about 3 or 4 months, we just were on the phone. We didn't really. We kissed that night, but that was like, then we didn't see each other for a while. We were just on the phone, and and that's how sort of the relationship sort of started, and it
Nice.
was very, very interesting.
And how did you know fairly early on that you could see yourself with him and building a longer relationship with him?
Yeah, I think I was ready. I said, when I come back from Australia, when I come home, I'm ready to settle down and find my Mr. Right, and just get serious. And it was like I set that intention, and I met him like 10 hours after. Like, obviously, I got together with him about 10 or 12 hours after coming back to the country. It was just amazing how that
Wow.
just came through the way I've always been very good at manifesting things in my
I was
life.
going to
I just,
say, it
mm,
sounds like it.
yeah, yeah.
And then how long after did you decide to have children? Was that quite a few years later?
Yeah, so we did a bit of traveling together. So we did everything reverse. We first bought a house, then we got pregnant, and then we got married. So yeah, so we kind of moved in with each other probably about 7 or 8 months after we had met each other. He ended up moving into a flat really close to my flat. However, he never stayed there, so he had a year's lease and he always stayed in my place. So we kind of ended up putting things into storage after a while and then buying a house. But we had children, I'd say, 2004 we met, and we had our child in 2008. So this year will be our ninth year together and fifth year of marriage. And yeah, I mean, children do change the dynamic and in a relationship and all that kind of stuff. So I find it different, but still super satisfying and really cool. You know, now that we're like a family unit of four.
Nice.
Mhm.
And
Mm.
you know, it's a huge achievement, not only having children and being in a happy relationship, but also now running, you know, a few businesses together too. So it's amazing. So what would be, or what were some of the your challenges for you
Yeah.
in regards to being a driven lady on a mission and keeping your relationship in a, you know, loving and healthy and fulfilling space?
Yeah. So you know, nothing is perfect, and I don't, you know, want to, you know, sort of give people the idea that, you know, everything's always been perfect and stuff like that. There's been
Sure.
challenges along the way, challenges around silly little, I guess, decisions that Stuart made along the way, which we had to deal with and, you know, get through. And you know, nothing to do with obviously, you know, any of us being unfaithful to each other, but little decisions that, you know, I wasn't happy about in the relationship that we had to work through ourselves. The time was a challenge because growing the businesses like took my focus off our family in the early days. So, you know,
Mhm.
in the first about 6 months, I was really immersed into what I was studying, what I was learning. I was in total overwhelm, and luckily he was there. He's always been there to support me and to really be my, I guess, number one person that's by my side, as well as you know, I went through a huge personal growth journey which he had to then also catch up on as well, because
Exactly.
you know, you've, I don't know if your listeners have heard, but you know, couples that grow together stay together. And in the early days I grew and grew and grew, and then, you know, he could see the changes in me. Obviously being a coach, that's what we go through when we start out. And for him, you know, he then started reading some of the books, and we also invested and had our own mentor around our relationship as well as around our business. So we've always believed in working on things and not waiting till something's broken to fix it. That's our belief.
Great. And do you feel like if you hadn't had that support, it would have been a lot more challenging?
Yeah, it would have been a lot more challenging because we sometimes can be unaware of the things that we may be doing, and it's good to have that outsider perspective to call you on your stuff and to sort of make you realize, you know, what could be happening in a situation where, you know, you're a complete effect to one another, and you know, maybe placing blame and whatever. So it was really good to work with and I continue to work with mentors even nowadays. Not around our relationship, we've got that pretty much sorted, but we do work with mentors around our business, and you know, I mean, part of that is also life as well at the same time. So huge bonus, and I'm a very big believer in that.
Beautiful. Yeah, it's so important, especially I guess with the work that you do. And you know, as coaches, it's so important to walk our talk ourselves. So I'm curious
Yeah,
because in that and you did touch on it a little bit in that early stage when you build your business and you did your coaching, and it's nearly like you actually fall in love with this whole new business and new career, and
yeah,
you know and I'm definitely experiencing that at the moment with my business too. Like I sometimes just want to spend all weekend creating new
Oh, yeah.
things. And so it do you how did you actually then still make sure that you had enough time with your husband and your children? Like how did you sort of schedule that in?
I'm very organized. I actually gave I used to map out my whole week where I would have time and then schedule in time when it was playtime with the kids or date nights. So we always made a goal. We've always had a goal to go on at least one date per month. And just even to the point of needing to tick it off and make sure it happens and booking it in ahead of time, making sure that at least four out of seven, 4 to 5 nights out of seven, we have what we like to call tea time, and where we sit down for 10 to 15 minutes and just have a chat about how things are going and how we feel about certain things. That works really well. And we go away a lot, Camille. We go away at least on 2 big holidays every year. And this year we've been away nearly every month. We have 2 big ones, but we've been on weekends, and we have really grown to enjoy just going away on a weekend, just us two. And then my mum looks after the kids. We don't have much family. My mum's the only one that's here, and she's the only one that could ever babysit them. But
Oh wow.
we have quality support, not quantity support.
Fantastic. So you
Yeah.
are you the one, like do you feel like you're the main person in the relationship who organizes everything, or do you sort of take turns?
Stuart's the person that picks all the spots and books them. He's in charge of all the bookings, and
Okay.
I just need to give him the dates. And he finds such cool places. He just is really good at finding cool houses to go away to, and cool hotels and all that. I'm so glad that I don't have to do that, and he just organizes bonds and things like that. I mean, this weekend I'm going away with my mum, and he's found us the place, booked it in for us. Because also what I find is that with my relationship with my mum also was kind of I guess neglected, because I was just so busy, as you said, in love with the businesses, that I've wanted to really spend some time. We used to go away on more holidays together, just the mother daughter. So it's really great to be starting to do that this year as well. Again, and we're going to go to Europe again for 4 weeks together as well, towards in September. So that's really exciting. But
Oh,
yes, Stuart's the
beautiful.
one that books all the stuff.
So you do, so that's, I think that's so important too, because sometimes as very, driven, independent,
Yeah.
organized sort of women, we often don't allow the guys do things for us anymore. But it sounds like you've really got a good balance there.
Yeah, our relationship, like, if you want to label Stuart at the moment, he's uh I guess a house husband, because the majority of the income is brought in by me, and he supports me in doing a lot of virtual administration work, writing a lot of my newsletters. He supports a lot of our people that are within our business, our licensees and clients.
Hmm.
And however, his main role is to look after the kids, to take them to childcare, to make sure he goes when his lunch, when his dinner, so I can actually have time to eat. And that's going to be like that, I reckon, for this year, until he gets more, into the business. I guess he's in his early stages of being a business owner, even though we've been in it since the beginning. Now we're truly together in it, and it's
Yeah.
like he needs to get to that point of um, really feeling and owning it.
Definitely, and I'm sure it's a very different experience for him now because he's like he's got his own space in the business, which is different to what you
Mm,
what you do.
mm.
So
Yeah, and it's really cool.
Nice. Oh, it sounds like, you've created a really yeah, just a really unique way of living, and it's really working for you. So it's always so interesting to hear. So I mean, this is going to be a bit of a difficult question, but if you had to
Okay.
choose between being a successful entrepreneur and having a really happy relationship, which one would you choose if you had to?
God, that's a tough one. Look, I think, yeah, how do you choose that? Like, I love both so much. Like, I don't think I could live. I'd be so depressed if I didn't have my businesses, but at the same time, the same as if I didn't have my family or my husband. You know what I mean? They're so linked up with one another. Do I have to choose?
No, you don't. So I was just curious. And it is, I mean, yeah, it's such a tough question, isn't it?
I know. It's like, but I kind of have both. Kind of
Of
have my cake
course.
and eat it.
Of course, and exactly, and that's what this is all about. And you have created that, which is so inspiring. So I'd love you to share a little bit about your mindset around creating an extraordinary life. What are some of your key ways of thinking for yourself?
Hmm. That's a cool one. I guess my everyone has a different philosophy of what an ideal life is. And I like to call my because everything I have and stand for has the word ultimate in it. So what's my ultimate lifestyle look like? And I guess the quality of my life, I through my beliefs, and I think these were instilled by me while I was growing up in Macedonia, is that we always did go away at least a couple of times a year in the summer and winter breaks. And even though Macedonia's got such a low socioeconomic status, people still go away a couple of times a year. And I have learned to believe that the quality of my life is determined by the trips and the memories that I build with my loved ones and things like that. So the mindset around creating that lifestyle is how can I generate serve others and help others be successful, because that's the way I will also be successful at the same time. How can I do it in a way that it's passive and but still connected, because I believe we still need some level of connection in business with the people that we work with. So
Mhm.
then that can also enable me to have that freedom and choice that all of us strive for. And I always know that nothing comes easy. There's no I've come to really know that there's no magic bullets, as much as we'd like to think that there are, and quick fixes. There isn't. There is hard work and determination, and passion. If you are living your passion, what you do is you don't actually end up feeling like you working. So I probably spend, Camille, probably 50, 60 hours still in my business. Like, I don't work in it every single day, but some days I might be in it for 15 hours, and other days, I might do a few. But when I guess add it up, and it doesn't really, like, that might sound to the listeners like a lot of hours every week, but to me, it just doesn't feel like it feels that way. I feel like I'm doing it for myself, and that what I've created is for us, and I continue to create. And I have a really, really big goal this year, which is beyond me. Once you get to this point, I guess in business, it becomes it's more once you're looked after, then you can look after other people. So the way I was obviously able to assist Stuart in being able to leave his day job, and this year's big goal is to assist my mum to do the same and give her a spot in the business that she can do from home, because my mum's been cleaning for the last 10 to 15 years, and she's getting really tired. She's only 55.
Mm.
And that's one of my big goals, is to by the end of this year, like last year we were celebrating Stuart resigning from his job, and this year is I would like for my mum to do the same. And then who knows where it goes from there, but they're my key people in my life, and I'm focusing on that rather than on myself. That if Does that make sense? Did I answer your question?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's so important to have that bigger vision. So apart from being motivated to help your family, like what else really drives you to keep on going and create bigger things in your business?
What drives me? I like, this might sound funny, but I like to stand out. I'm driven by significance, and I like to, what motivates me? It's when other people say, good job, you've done well. I just want to do more. And this is just being totally honest, because I know a lot of people go, oh my God, she's so vain or whatever, loves herself. And you know what? Well, that's me, and I don't care. Like I'm honest, and I like to get recognized for the things that I
Recognition.
do.
Yes.
I love recognition. That's what motivates me. And if you find what motivates you, just keep doing that thing, because then you'll keep bringing more and more things out to people. And I'm motivated by other people getting results. Like the last couple of days, we've had a couple of the licensees get their first paying clients, and they're over the moon, and they're just so excited with they're posting on a private group that we have happening. And I remember the day when I got my first paying client. It was so exciting. I reckon that high carried me through for about 2 months, and I know exactly the spot they're at, and that's what like really motivates me. It's like, oh my God, how can I help more now get their first paying clients and all that? Because everything that we've lately been doing in the business is fairly new, of what we launched late last year. So it's just so great to see that people are getting results, and that even motivates me even more.
Beautiful. So it's and I love how honest you are about, really being driven by the recognition, and doesn't it feel liberating just to be, I mean, you're just being authentic, and you being honest about who you are. How great is
Yeah.
that? So
Yeah, it's like that's because I do get asked that question a lot, and I know a lot of people would go, "Oh, well, what will others think of me?" I actually, there you go. That's the other mindset thing. It's I don't care what other people think about me, which is hard for people to do. I was writing that program today, and that was one of the things that I was writing about. It's successful people don't listen to other people. I mean, they listen for advice, and they'll hear people out, but they don't really care what other people think, because if we cared, we'd get nowhere. Especially because sometimes it's other people's fears that can hold us back, and they start putting little seeding little fears and guilt in our heads.
absolutely. And did you like what really helped you in the last couple of years to grow it to an even bigger level? Like, did you have to develop a few new things within yourself along the journey?
Yeah, so to grow in the last couple of years, so initially it was all me, and working with people one on one with what I knew. I continued reading. I'm a big reader, so if you want to know one of my strategies of how I got to where I got to, is I read probably a book a fortnight on average,
Hmm.
and if not, sometimes more. Sometimes I'll have a spurt of about a book a week for a while, and then have a bit of a break for a month or something, and then get back into it. I'm constantly asking people for titles of books and ordering them, so I have five or six ready, when I want to read and go and take on all my holidays, because that's one of my pleasures, is to just be away in a break and have those few hours just to read. um and then so I was one on one with people for a long time, and then after about once my coaching practice filled up full brim, it was just like, oh my God, I have the money, good cash flow, but I have no time. My husband was working full time, and he was in retail. He still was in retail,
Hmm.
and it's like we never saw each other, and we had a day off, well, a weekend off every 12 days, because he used to work every second weekend.
Wow.
And so I needed to work out a way. How is it, like, so first you sort out, you get the money, you sort that out, and then obviously the time issue becomes the challenge. So I had to start, and on the advice of my mentor, is he said, look, everything you've been doing with your clients, you need to start systemizing. And for a long time, leading up to this point, a few people had asked me how I do what I do, but obviously I could only talk to them or mentor them through it. So what I started doing early last year is I started systemizing everything that I did with clients. So what are the kind of things we spoke about in each session, and what sort of format did we kind of follow, aside from obviously the non-agenda kind of questioning that coaching is.
Mhm.
And I realized that there was a certain things that I was showing them at a certain stage of the journey. So it became a program, and what happened is that this program is now obviously replicable by other people, and people have a ready-made system to work with rather than, you know, the 2 years that it took me to get there, because everything, as you know, in business is testing and measuring and working out what works, what doesn't work. And at the same time, I was systemizing what I did with my clients. I systemized what I did behind the scenes in the business, like what are the things, the marketing strategies, the lead generation, all that kind of stuff, so that I could pass this on as a full, I like to call it business in a box. So I could pass that on to people to work with and start getting results straight away. So these new people that have been with me, that's why I'm so excited when they tell me they've got their first paying clients, because it took me 5 or 6 months to get my first one when I started out, and they're getting it like in their first few weeks, and it's really, really exciting. So that was the difference. It's changing from the mindset that working one-on-one, 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 you get to a point where you kind of get exhausted, and you're looking for ways of how can I leverage this and then help more people, because through systemizing things and other people using the system, I'm actually helping more people around the country, because there's licenses in every state of Australia, helping other individuals. So I guess, you know, the ripple effect is is spreading everywhere.
Oh, it's massive. So are you happy to, I'm sure a few of, quite a few of the listeners would be curious to find out a little bit more about your programs. Can you just touch a little bit on how who it's for and how it actually works?
Yeah, so what I've ended up doing, and I'll just go backtrack a tiny bit in
Mm.
terms of, so what I was doing is I was coaching people on weight loss when I was doing one-on-one, and it was specific to lose the last 10 kilos, which was really a narrow niche, which is a fantastic way of, I guess, doing business rather than being everything to everyone. And I wrote a book for that particular business called The 7 Ultimate Secrets to Weight Loss, which meant that once I got that book out there, I really raised my credibility and perception of being the expert in this particular niche, and that's what really changed and got me a lot of clients when I was starting out. What I realized after I had written a book and a program, that I also had another hidden talent, which was to put my intellectual property into products. So what it has resulted as a result of me systemizing everything is I've come up with 2 businesses in a box. One's for the ultimate weight loss, lose the last 10 kilos, and the other one is for ultimate business edge, create products for profit. So they're niches that coaches could choose to operate in, whether they'd like to operate in the health and wellness sector as a mindset specialist with the program that's been written for ultimate weight loss, or in the business one, which has got a mindset program as well as a product generator program that would work through with business owners. And I love both of them. Like, they're so different that I can't split them up. Like, ultimate weight loss is our core one, and we've got 25 people Australia wide using it and being licensed in it. Ultimate Business has 5, and because that was launched a bit later, because I had to write the program like earlier this year, and someone told me you should turn this into a business in a box as well, and I said, oh, okay. No, people, like, you can't plant an idea in my head, because tomorrow I'd be actioning it. And with this new program that I mentioned earlier today, I'm actually going to add it in as an added value into both of those businesses in a box, so they can be delivering the procrastination program within the business as well as the personal side. So I always aim to add value well and over above what the asking price of the programs is, and to continue bringing people more content, more tools and resources. So that's my that's what the businesses are about. And really, I mean, they're focused on life coaches. However, they're not just for life coaches. Because I have naturopaths, nutritionists, personal trainers, kinesiologists. Who else have I got? Oh, people who've lost a lot of weight and kept it off. So
Mhm.
people who want to work from home. So they're actually the weight loss one is more diverse in terms of who it's suited for. And yeah, I don't know. Is there anything else you think I should add?
Well, I guess with the you mentioned how quickly people actually get their clients. So do you actually teach people in the program around the marketing and how to actually
Yeah.
get clients? Because it's such an important
Yeah.
part, isn't it?
Yeah, well, put it this way, I kind of have come from this belief the actual content in the programs is about 30% of the training and 70% is the marketing, the business, well, I like to call them the business growth essentials. So, how do you get your clients? What were my most three successful marketing strategies that got me to a full coaching practice? And the best thing about it, I guess, it's I'm really looking for these people to get to the next level, and the next level is to become an executive licensor where they get a license to license
Oh,
and really they start working smarter and not harder and doing what I've been doing like in the last 5 months. So I know that the one-on-one is important and you cannot skip any steps. So you do have to get good at the content and delivery of it and all that sort of stuff. But when you reach, say, 10 clients that you have coached and you receive testimonials from, and you're very well, versed in the program and also know the business growth essentials that we teach, you could yourself create your own, I guess, one-to-many business where you're licensing people, and that's really I have a big goal for a lot of people who are in the program right now to get to that level. But first, they all need to have their one-on-one because, yeah, as I said, there's no magic bullet. You can't just jump to the top level. You do need to go through the steps so that you are uh, you know, competent. Yes, that's
competent.
the word I'm
Yeah,
looking for.
you really got to put
So
in
that's
the
it.
hours.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, so definitely a lot of education on business, a lot of education on marketing, on social media, on networking, on running their own workshops. I'm just running them through my head and support a community, obviously, with our Facebook group. We've got shared Dropbox folders with files, all the recordings. There's just so much stuff to go through and to really just go and operate in a specific niche. Because what I found was that going out as a generalist business owner, whatever that what in whatever area is, doesn't get you a lot of business and a lot of clients. But the minute I started saying I'm the ultimate weight loss coach, I help people lose the last 10 kilos, all of a sudden people started going, oh my God, that's me. I've always had that problem. And you just find there's so many out there. That doesn't mean you won't get people that are bigger than that. But,
Mm.
at least just speak to one type of person. You know how important that is.
Definitely. So I'm curious, how did you actually pick that particular niche? Because I mean, I can't imagine
Oh,
you had problem with weight loss at any stage.
well, not really a big problem. Well, exactly right. Why did I pick that niche? Because I realized that I did have that journey of lose the last 10 kilos when I was 28, and I'm 35 now. 35, yeah. On my 28th birthday, I stood in front of my mirror, and I write about this in my book. And I looked at myself, and I had lost sort of that shape that I used to have, and you heard me say before, I'm sort of driven by significance. So, not looking nice. And this is what the lose the last 10 kilos people want, is actually, it's not so much about a health thing. It's this client's deepest desire is actually to stand out and to be noticed and to be sexy to the opposite sex.
Nice.
So this this is what that client wants, okay? And this is deep down, what I realized I really wanted. It wasn't about getting healthy and whatever, because I was still in a healthy weight range. So I got to 67 kilos when I was over 10, and I took on a healthy eating. Taught myself how to eat because I had been out of home for 5 or 6 years and not looking after myself well, and that's how the weight crept up. And then over a couple of year period, I slowly lost first 5 kilos, and then I maintained that and lost the other 5 and remained at 57. So one day when I was working with my mentor and coach, he asked me, he was thinking, how can we make you different than any other weight loss person? And we thought about it, and he just said, he gave me the idea, but he had never known about my story. And then when he said it, it sat really right with me. And I said, you know what? That's really cool. So then when I got up and did my workshops, I could also show my before and after photos, which are on my website, and people could see and they could really relate to what I was saying. And I still attracted people of all sorts of, different weights they had to lose, but really it was these ones that that had the last 10 kilos that really, sort of got attracted to this particular niche. So that's how I arrived to it. And I guess the second one with the product creation, I arrived to it because through the experience of writing a book, writing a few programs, all of a sudden people were saying, well, how did you do that? Can you mentor me how to do that? And it's almost like as if that particular niche found me. And that's why they're so different. It's because through one, the other one was born.
Beautiful. And with the second one, so it could really be for any person with a certain area of expertise. It's not
Yeah.
necessarily for coaches either.
No, no, it's not. It could be for facilitators,
Hmm.
consultants. Consultants could consult with businesses around product creation. So yeah, no, it's not just for coaches. And yeah, I'm really expanding beyond that. I guess because we come from that community of coaches, and we know a lot of coaches. That's why it's turned out that the majority maybe that's come from that background. But it doesn't have to be that way. And I'm really looking at lots of other areas to expand, especially those people who have work from home, because that's what I've done. I've done it all from I'm just sitting downstairs. I've got a little room that's not attached to, well, it's attached to my house, but it's completely separate, and I like to call it my little cave. And everything that I've done is I've done from this little cave underneath my house. And I'm really passionate about saying to people, you know what, you don't need to have a shop front. You don't need to have anything like that. Like the overheads are so low, and everything that I've done is on hardly any budget. The most money I've ever spent is on my mentoring, in terms of, but a lot of my marketing has been very low cost or no cost. And that's what I teach.
Fantastic. And it does, yeah,
Mm.
exactly. It's not necessary to spend all this huge amounts of money on advertising or anything. You've got your own strategies that you've created.
Yeah, exactly right. And it's fun, and and they work, and they've worked for me. So if I've been able to go for 6+ figures in under 3 years, in about, I guess I'd say I hit that figure at about 2 years or two and a bit years, so it wasn't overnight. I'm not going to say make 6 figures in 6 months. I'm not, that's not realistic for me. And I want to be honest, you do have to obviously do a little bit of study. You've got to be committed to investing some time in learning the stuff, because it's not going to happen overnight. And for those people who are of the same values that I have, that you give yourself a good go, then you'll get there.
And I'm curious, like, have you ever got those days where you're not feeling 100%, or you do have still
Oh.
some, self-doubt coming up, or are you super, what
Yes,
how do you deal with that
yes.
sort of thing?
Yeah, thank you for asking that. And yes, absolutely, I have those days. And I have those days. Everything is going wrong. Nothing's right, just, and and it happens in so many hits. Like it just doesn't, it either goes really positive, or you'll get a few negative things happen in one way. And you know what? I listened to Dr. John DeMartini, and I've read a couple of his books, and that really gave me a peace of mind. He always said that life is, it can never be up, or always up and always down. It always reaches this equilibrium where it evens out. So if you've had a pretty crappy time, know that there is, it'll turn around, and it'll come back up again, and you'll have your absolute highs, and you'll have those moments where you're kind of going, oh my God, nothing's happening. Everyone's forgotten about me. These are some of the thoughts that go through my head. And actually, one of my business partners in the other business that I have, she goes through this as well. She goes, oh my God, do you do that to yourself as well? We always talk about stuff, and how do I deal with it? I have obviously people that I have can speak to. So this particular lady, who's part of my other business, that's outside of the businesses in a box, we always call each other every day, and I like to call her my business wife. Okay, so since we're talking about relationships, I have a husband, and then I have a business wife. and and she is someone that we've cried to each other, and we've sort of, she comes from the really big mindset, don't worry about what other people say, just go and do it. If we were thinking about what other people were saying, we wouldn't gotten to where we are today, because both her and I have like 10 years combined working experience from home. And so my husband's obviously a big supporter, and he'll listen out, and because he's grown so much on this journey as well, he really looks at things in a really resourceful way. And so when he listens to me or speaks to me, or when I'm going off flying off the handle, he doesn't think that I'm in the past he would have been taking it as an attack, but now I'm just venting. And then he kind of realizes he just needs to listen out and just be there for me, and that's really cool.
He sounds like the perfect guy. Like, was he natural? Was he always just amazing, or did you sort of have to train him a little bit? I'd love to hear a little bit more about that.
No, no, I didn't have to train him. Well, he had to train himself a little bit in terms of working on himself. And he has read a lot of books as well, and all that, because with us and you guys, being in a relationship coaching, you'd know about the masculine and feminine energies and all that. And we've always, strived to have that balance. And because I'm so out there and, on the go all the time, to come back and just let go and go into my feminine energy and all that sort of stuff is always a challenge. But I'm doing good. And my mum and all her friends have, they always compliment and say, oh my God, he's the best husband. You've just got the best husband in the world. And, he just really looks after you. Everyone is very envious of the way he is. And he just lets me do I guess he lets me do whatever I want to do. And that's where, I feel I'm free, because I am a free person. Like, I want to be let out to go out. Like, we had a race day with a few friends, and he went to a Bucks day on Saturday. And so we both were in two different spots, but that was cool. We texted each other and we had a bit of fun, sent each other photos and all that, and felt like we were at both parties. And then we came together at the end of the night and had a good laugh, and that's cool. I don't like to be tied down off of someone to tell me that I can't do something.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, of the way you run your life, of course, that wouldn't work for you at all. So,
No.
what would be your advice to women out there, like single
Mm-hmm.
women who are similar to you? Because a lot of my
Mm-hmm.
clients are very much strong, successful women, or very driven
Mm-hmm.
women. What sort of things to maybe look for in a potential partner?
Someone, okay. So yeah, they're looking. I'm just trying to go into my head, like,
Yeah, they're
yeah,
single, looking for
so
someone, but
someone, yeah, yeah. So someone who will help you, and you allow them to help you, to uh, just someone that will also, I guess, be a great communicator. So that, I guess early on in the relationship, it's sometimes hard to determine what a person exactly is like, because we're on our best behavior. um, I always, from the very early on, and I've always been very blessed with wonderful relationships through my whole life. I've never had anyone that I've actually broken up with because something horrible has gone wrong. It's just been, it was me, put it this way, it was me going through that honeymoon period and getting into a routine and go, I'm bored now, I'll go on to the next thing. That's what happened. And I've realized that it's not about, we know that, well, through the studies that I've done, we know that sort of that in love feeling dissipates after about a couple of years. And then you go into that routine, I like to call it. And one of my mentors talks about honeymoon routine and mastery. And very much, a lot of the time is spent in routine, and having that routine that supports you so that the relationship can still be nurtured is very, very important. So from the early days, I would say, be yourself, and yeah, be authentic, rather than putting on a front that cannot be sustainable for a long time.
yes.
And encourage your partner to do the same, so that you guys can truly see what it's like, and I don't mind living with a partner to see what it's like, and if you're a great team. One of the things I forgot to mention is we are a fantastic team. Like, there's no nagging. I've never nagged him. He's never nagged me. It's just we just pick up where the other person left off, and we keep moving along. So that's something that I'm very proud of, because I know and hear a lot of people, when they've been in a relationship for a long time, they nag each other, and it's just this, like, they speak in spiteful ways, and it doesn't, even my husband's told me when he hangs out with some people, they're always bagging their wives, and people like speaking badly of them, and
Yeah.
he goes, I just can't handle it, and sometimes he goes, I have to leave early because I'm so sick of those conversations. So he's never been one who would speak behind my back, and neither would I. Whereas we find ourselves in situations where other people are constantly bagging their partners, and I really don't like that.
Absolutely, and it's so common. So with you two, was that a conscious decision that you were never going to do that, or just it just naturally never happened?
It naturally never happened, and it was almost like we always like then talk to each other when we would sort of come, because you say if we went camping, they'd go to the pub or whatever for a couple of drinks, the boys and the girls would stay, we'd read books or whatever, sunbake, and he'd come back from it, and then later on he'd say, oh my god, they wouldn't stop talking about what this woman do, and da 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 da, and it's like, and he goes, and then they tried to egg him on to say stuff about me, and he goes, I just don't go there. He's just very he's a great listener, but he's very, doesn't want to it's not nice. I mean, why would you be with someone if you're gonna bag them behind their back? Like, I don't know, it's not nice.
Of course not. Yeah. Oh, and it just doesn't make sense. But still, so
No.
many people get caught up in that trap. So we've covered so much. So I'm also curious. We are nearly going to wrap up, but curious about the book. So is that going to actually stop
Uh,
procrastinating?
uh, so this one's going to be not a book. This is going to be a program. So
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be the full name is Ultimate Procrastination Cure: 10 Easy Steps to Banish It from Your Life. And the way I like to do my programs is I always have I'll write the step, and I always have 3 action points, because I'm a very big believer that the being comes with the doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so this particular program will be, obviously people can get it on its own, but it'll also be injected into the Two Businesses in a Box as an additional program that can deliver with people. So rather than just the weight loss ultimate mindset success program, they'll also have the ultimate procrastination cure now. So they actually get a whole other program and X amount of sessions that they would work through with a client if they were taking them through one-on-one, or they could deliver it as a workshop style, like over a weekend or a
Okay.
day. I'm actually gonna, yeah, they can do the programs however they want it. It doesn't have to be one-on-one. They can do it in group settings. So then they're straight away doing one-to-many. And I will be running it for the first time in June. 2nd of June, I'll be running it for a group of people. Just, I always like to do it once live, and get some feedback and things like that. But I know it's going to be cool,
Of
and
course.
I've already had interest, and I've already pre-sold quite a few of those, so that's really cool. But yeah, that's going to be a program, because I've written authored 3 books. And but yeah, my very first one was the 7 Ultimate Secrets to Weight Loss, and then a lot more of the stuff that I do nowadays is around business, because it's just evolved into that. As you grow and evolve through business, you tend to appeal and to different clients, and it's really cool to see when you look back on it, Camille. It's just really amazing.
What are you most proud of?
What am I most proud of? Uh, in terms of business or relationship?
Just anything. Again, I guess it's a big question, but I'm just curious to like when you're looking back now. I guess more sort of business since we're talking about your business. But the last few
Yeah.
years, what specifically are you really proud of?
I guess I'm really proud of hitting that six-figure mark, in the business because it was something that I have never dreamt of. I had hoped, but I could never see it happening to me. And I'm very proud of, hitting that. And I kind of know how I can get to seven figures now as well. And that's what I'm proud of. I'm proud of my family. We're really lucky to have a boy and a girl. So it's just I don't know, our family unit's just so close, and the things that we do, we just really stick together. It's almost like we don't need anyone else, and that's really cool. And I'm proud that I have made it out in this country, and have made a life for myself. And I'm so blessed and happy that my mum has brought me here because there wasn't a lot of opportunities back where I came from, and that's why one of the big reasons why I do want to give back to her and help her out now, so she can have a happy retirement and I can just support her.
Beautiful. Oh, it's just so beautiful to hear. So, and one more question, which
Yeah.
you sort of touched on too, like that you never could see yourself create that the six figure income. So, what needed to shift within your mindset to really allow a lot more abundance to come into your life?
I needed to think beyond helping people one on one and work out how is it that I can leverage my time and my resources, and to believe that I guess I was worth it.
Yeah,
Self-worth has a big thing, big, I guess self-worth is everything. Whether you want to lose weight, whether you want to be a successful business owner, have an awesome relationship, you gotta, I guess, love yourself number one before other people love you. And when they can see that, they feel safe with you, and that everything will be okay, and you will support them, and give them. I guess people look for certainty within us, and if they can see that, that is where the shift occurs. Because the reason I guess it took me 6 months to get my first paying client is because I wasn't safe within myself. I wasn't certain. I wasn't sure I was valued what I was asking to be paid by my clients at the beginning. And that was the thing that really I had to work on. I guess that was my initial sessions with my coach and mentor, is working through my limitations and my limiting beliefs. And now to think, you know what, whatever I think of, it is totally possible. And I continue to write my goals, continue to do my vision boards, my intentions, my affirmations, everything I teach people and is in my programs. It's everything is congruent, and that's what works. Because if I do it, I'm okay with saying you should do it too, and it'll work for you because it's totally worked for me.
absolutely. And it's what I'm hearing. It's an ongoing process. You don't stop. You keep on writing down your goals. You keep on creating your vision
Oh,
boards.
yeah, and keep on writing your programs. The minute I sort of get an idea and I go, oh God, I could teach people how to do that. If you have something to teach people, document it, because it becomes so much more valuable. It really does. And that's what I keep doing. Like, how this program came about is because I got bored one and I said, you know what? I really want to teach people how to take action. I'm such a good action taker. How do I show them and teach them the steps how to do it? And then I spoke to my mentor and he asked me a few cool questions. He goes, there's your program. And I go, oh, cool. And I started about 6 weeks ago and it's nearly done. I'm up to step 8 and I've got 2 more to go, and I'll get it done this week. And that's the thing. It's just continuous learning, continuous growth. And even though in the beginning it seems overwhelming, it's not. After a while, it actually becomes just part of you.
It's just normal. So, Natasha, you
No.
such an inspiration. You're a woman on a mission, and look forward to see what you'll be creating over the next few years. I'm sure it'll just keep on growing. So, for the listeners who would like to maybe find out a little bit more about the businesses, I know you offer like Is it a half an hour or an hour chat
Yeah,
through?
an hour. Yeah, look, anyone can talk to me for an hour. I am very free and abundant in terms of the way I have my time. I don't mind even spending, even if it's questions they want me to answer on anything that they've heard tonight, they can book in a chat and we can have a conversation because I'm just really happy to add value in whatever way I can. And coming from the philosophy of that giver's gain, just give away your time, your whatever it is to other people, and it doesn't matter because you get it from somewhere else, or whatever happens. So I've always been one to just go, you know what, let's just get to know each other and have a cool conversation. You have a coffee over the internet.
Beautiful. And I'll actually email there. I know there you do have a link where
Yeah,
people can book in their time. So I will email the
yeah.
ladies that link if they choose to, get to know you a little bit better and find out what the opportunities are in regards to business. So thank
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that link links up to my the private diary, and then it removes the need for having to ring up. When are you free? And when am I free? It's just all electronic, so I love it. I've started using it recently. It just works so well.
you love your systems, don't you?
I love my system. Yes, yeah. It makes everything more effective and more productive, and it saves everyone heaps of time.
Absolutely. And again, thanks so much for sharing so much of your,
Pleasure.
your valuable experience around love, business, mindset, and creating an extraordinary life. Thanks so much
Thank
for
you,
being on the
Camille. It's
call.
been a pleasure, and thank you for having me on. And I look forward to also watching your journey as well. And it's been really cool knowing you, for as long as we have. And it's so cool, to watch people grow.
Thank you so much. And have a fantastic
Have a
week. We'll
great
talk
time.
soon.
We will. Bye.
Bye.